What is going on? Here we go. Wow. A pregame live chat, a real pregame live chat. With all due respect to the preseason and all of that, this is a real pregame live chat, ladies and gentlemen. The season is here. The Chiefs and the Ravens will open things off. I'm excited. Hell yeah, let's go. I'm pumped, man. I know you guys are as well. This is going to be a very fun game tonight, and I really do think it's going to set the tone for the rest of the season. I really do. I'm looking forward to this one. I really am, and I know you guys are eager as well. I just remember waking up this morning. First thought in my mind, it's football season, and I got up at like 4 a.m. today, and I could not go to sleep. I mean, really, like this is it, man. Let's go. Won the Super Bowl last year, despite all of the struggles, and now here we are getting ready to three-peat, and that journey starts tonight officially as the Chiefs get ready to play host to the Baltimore Ravens on Banner Night. How are you guys? You guys talk to me, man. I want to hear from you guys. What's on your mind? What are you guys? How are you guys feeling? What are you guys thinking? What's on your mind? I want to hear from you guys. I see Gary's pumped up. Eric's thrilled. Robert is repping all the way and down under. That's great to see. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's get right into it. A lot of things to talk about today. Of course, within the last couple of hours, we've had a couple of big stories come out. The first one I want to get into is the Noah Gray extension that just broke about an hour ago. Kind of a pleasant surprise to me because, you're thinking about the 2021 draft class. You're thinking that, Brett Veach is focused on guys like Creed Humphrey, who he already has extended. The next guy on the list would definitely have to be Trey Smith or Nick Bolton. But no, the Chiefs kind of went in a different direction, and they went ahead and got Noah Gray, locked him up for 3 more years. And I kind of find that very interesting because you've got, Kelsey's backup who's going to be around for a few more years. And on top of that, you have Jared Wiley, who you just drafted, and I know the Chiefs are very high on him. It would not surprise me, once Travis Kelce steps away, and that's not going to be anytime soon, that you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Got to remember one thing, though, because when Alex Smith was a quarterback, and I know Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes, very different style QB play, but they've all played an Andy Reid system. Alex Smith used Demetrius Harris, I think, a lot more than maybe people realized. I would argue that Alex Smith used Demetrius Harris more than Patrick Mahomes has used Noah Gray or Blake Bell during Blake Bell's time in Kansas City on 2 separate stints. I think whenever Travis Kelce, decides to hang it up, and, if we're being honest, that's going to happen within the next couple of years, probably. I know he did an interview today with CBS, and he mentioned that he's got at least 2 years left, 2 good years left in him. So you have to take his word for that. And this is a guy who's playing at a high level still, battled through multiple injuries last year. So that he's going to continue to play. But I think with the Noah Gray extension, all that does is just ensure some, basically giving you an insurance policy at that tight end position if Travis Kelce were to get hurt. Maybe you want to give more of a workload to Noah Gray this year. And I think whenever the time comes that Travis Kelce steps away, which again, hopefully is not anytime soon and going to be a couple of years away, then I think the Chiefs are going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets with Noah Gray and Jared Wiley in the future. So I'm very excited to see how that works. I see all the excitement here. Appreciate you guys joining me. So those are my thoughts on the Noah Gray signing. That was kind of a pleasant surprise because I don't think that was on anyone's radar. I don't think there is a single person, whether it's a fan, anyone that's covering the Chiefs in the media, I don't think anyone had it on their radar that Noah Gray was going to be signed and locked up long term. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise to me. I like Noah Gray, especially last year when things were not so well on offense. Noah Gray was kind of one of the few bright spots. He would step up when the team needed him the most. Greetings to Florida. Appreciate it, Mario. Steve, I'm with you, man. I was really looking forward to Hollywood Brown play. Hey, listen, sometimes my predictions don't age well. I did say that Hollywood would score the first touchdown of the year. Unfortunately, not the case. I love the tight end room. I really do. And I'm excited to see what Peyton Hendershot's going to do. I think that's going to be more from of a pass blocking standpoint, especially, with a right tackle who had his ups and downs last year, and you have a rookie left tackle. So I think that's where you see him. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to do in this game. Hey, a couple of you guys have commented about this already, and I want to jump right into this. Nick is talking about Lamar Jackson has the IQ of a peanut. Somebody else made a comment about Lamar Jackson. I don't want to miss that. Where was that comment right there? Aiden says Lamar going to throw another pick into you red zone again. Yeah, because he threw it into triple coverage last year. Imagine that. Council Bluffs. Shout out to Council Bluffs. Where is everyone from? Let me know where you guys are all from. But anyway, I want to get into this Lamar Jackson thing because he actually, you know what? Let's make it a little easier and pull up the quote in case you guys missed it within the last hour or two. And I got to be honest with you guys, I thought this was fake news at first. I really did. Boy, is this going to allow me to do it? Please say yes. Bear with me, guys. I'm actually using this computer for the second time only for a live stream. So I think maybe some settings are not set up right away. There we go. Okay, so Lamar Jackson in this quote box here. This might be one of the more surprising quotes I have ever read. And again, I thought this was fake news. So he's basically saying, body-wise, he wasn't feeling good going into that AFC Championship game. And he feels like that if he wasn't hurting or that if he could move, then the Chiefs would have won the AFC title game. Well, first of all, I watched Lamar Jackson in that game. I thought Lamar Jackson did some good things in that game. I know we talked about the throwing into triple coverage there, but I thought Lamar Jackson put his team in position to win. I mean, he was able to break off a sack from Leo Chenal in that game, the first touchdown the Ravens had in that one. So he was able to find Zay Flowers on a deep play. That was Zay Flowers, right? I think it was. And then later in the game, when Zay Flowers torched L'Jarius Sneed and then taunted him, that was, another good throw there by Lamar Jackson. And then Jackson found Zay Flowers once again on a nice little route there on that short pass. And all Zay had to do was just go into the end zone. We all know what happened then. But, what happened? You were not able to move around. You were able to throw the ball just fine. And then read the last sentence. F throwing the ball. Says we would have won that shit. We wouldn't have even had to throw the ball. This doesn't even make sense. This is why I thought this tweet was or this quote was fake news, because I seriously thought that this was all made up. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, the person who wrote this story is Kent Babb from the Kansas City Star. I'm sorry, formerly of the Kansas City Star. He's with the Washington Post. I kind of just gave it away, but Kent Babb used to write for the Kansas City Star. I think he covered the Chiefs in the late Herm Edwards era and in part of the Todd Haley era. That is when Kent Babb covered the Kansas City Chiefs. Really nice guy and a great writer. I always liked his work. I believe he wrote an autobiography on Allen Iverson. So he's gone on to do some really good things with his writing career, and I'm happy to see that. Obviously, he landed a nice interview with Lamar Jackson. And for Lamar to say this, F throwing the ball, we would have won if my legs were good. Hold up. You're a two-time MVP. And I know there are a lot of opinions about Lamar Jackson, and I've certainly had my opinion. Listen, I can also admit when I'm wrong about things. I was one of those people that thought Lamar Jackson would have a very short career. And he's done nothing but prove a lot of people wrong over the years. Yeah, he had a couple of injuries a couple of years ago. But, man, he's found a way to overcome that, and he had a phenomenal season last year. The Ravens were destroying teams last year. They were beating up on the Dolphins. They were beating up on the 49ers. I mean, they had a phenomenal second half to the season last year. And then they ran into the Kansas City Chiefs and at their own home. So for you to even say a comment like this sends a really bad message, in my opinion, Again, that's assuming that this is a legitimate quote here. And I don't think Kent Babb of the Washington Post, again, formerly of the Kansas City Star, I don't think he's the type of person who would make up something like this. I would be shocked if he did. I would guess that Lamar Jackson is going to deny this. I would not want to admit to anything like this, which again is kind of weird. Like, why would a player in an interview with a journalist have some curse words? I'm not trying to say he's a bad person for using curse words here, but the context of this is so weird. Again, read the last couple of sentences. I know if my legs were good, we would have won that shit. We wouldn't have even had to throw the ball. Fuck throwing the ball. What quarterback says that? What MVP says that? Oh, by the way, he says he couldn't like move or some weird stuff. Didn't he throw a pass to himself and was able to kind of torch the Chiefs defense on that play, if we're being honest, which, by the way, led to him winning an ESPY award? I thought Lamar Jackson was moving around just fine. Dude, it's the end of January. You can't sit here and talk about how you were hurting and you were in pain. Patrick Mahomes shattered his ankle in a divisional playoff game and led his team to a Super Bowl win a few weeks later. You can't, and he only missed like what, one drive, going out, getting taped up, and then coming back for the second half. You can't sit here and make excuses about how you were hurting because, oh, poor me, we had a long season because we played in the AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson is a two-time MVP. When you will have a player of that caliber, your goals and aspirations should be to win a championship. I'm not here to say that other players don't have the same goals and aspirations, but Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they've won a lot of games over the years, so that's a team that realistically has a shot at a Super Bowl. But when you give a comment like this, it sends the wrong message. You're over here talking about hurting. When you have a game in late January, and if you're very fortunate enough to play into February, which the Chiefs have had many times in recent memory, you're going to be hurting. You're going to be in pain. Nobody, unless you're making your season debut in the AFC Championship game, nobody that's playing that late into a season is feeling 100% ever. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And if I'm not mistaken, man, the Ravens really hurt themselves in this game. The Chiefs could not even score in the second half of this game. So the Ravens had every opportunity to take the lead and win the AFC Championship, but they imploded in the second half. All of those unsportsmanlike penalties and then the taunting penalty. And of course, people want to blame the refs, that the refs carry the Chiefs. No, the refs aren't carrying anyone. It's your lazy ass that's complaining about hurting and unable to move, even though you look just fine. I know if my legs were good, he says. This is literally what Lamar Jackson is known for, which is why there are so many opinions about the guy. And look, it's very common for athletes to say after a season. We hear this often in March whenever teams come back for conditioning and eventually OTAs, and they start doing media obligations and they talk to the media for the first time. So sometimes, like Jalen Watson this offseason, he talked about how he was dealing with a shoulder injury and he was hurting for a majority of last season. A lot of UFC fighters, after a UFC fight, win or lose, they'll talk about how, their knee was not feeling good in preparation for that fight or that they had a shoulder issue in training camp, whatever the case may be. You hear this often from athletes, but this kind of comment, I mean, you're essentially, I don't even know, man. I don't know what more to say. This is a really alarming comment that surfaced here. And again, I would love to know when exactly this comment was given. It came out within the last, few hours. But when was this interview done? That's what I would love to know, because this is a really weird thing for a two-time MVP to say. This is a guy, and again, I know Lamar Jackson has had a lot of doubters. When the Ravens beat the Texans in the playoffs, Lamar went to the podium in his press conference, said, "Yeah, I've heard all the talk about my playoff record. Well, your playoff record is now 2-4, and you're over here bitching about being hurt and that the season is too long for you." I mean, he didn't say that. I'm just kind of speculating there. But if you want to win a championship, you're going to have to play games into late January and February, and you're going to be hurting during that stretch. It's not going to be easy. It shouldn't be easy. But again, This just makes you appreciate Patrick Mahomes even more, because Patrick Mahomes, again, that dude fought through a really bad ankle in the AFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl, and won it, re-aggravated that injury in the Super Bowl and still fought through it. That's just weird, man. That's just weird. I don't know. Listen, I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's done some good things, but that kind of comment right there really does make me question a lot of things about the guy's competitiveness. A lot of you guys saying Pacheco going to go off tonight. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Pacheco is going to do. I'm really, because again, even without Hollywood Brown for tonight, and hopefully he'll be available in 10 days when the Chiefs play the Bengals. When you look at Isaiah Pacheco, defenses cannot stack the box anymore. So what that does is you create a lot of one-on-ones out there. You have Rice, you have Worthy, you have Kelsey, and then you might see the Chiefs audible. I'm really curious to see how much the Chiefs audible from this. And sometimes, with certain hand signals, we might not know exactly what's being said and what's being communicated by everyone on the field and from the sidelines. But I would guess that you would see some changes on the fly there, because if Patrick Mahomes sees a look on defense that would definitely be more beneficial to run the football, you're going to see it, especially with what they have in Isaiah Pacheco. I think they feel pretty good about Samaje Perine. Carson Steele, he'll be ready for those third and short situations. I think you'll definitely want to use him in those situations there. Yeah, Pacheco had a shoulder. Yeah, and that dude went through 2 surgeries after Super Bowl 57, his rookie year. I don't know. It's just Nick's asking, can you find his Wonderlic score by chance? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's somewhere out there from his combine. Because like if a Chiefs player said that, like if they just said, "Hey, listen, I was hurting," and they left it at that, great. Like I can be like, okay, whatever, he was hurting. But when you talk about essentially not wanting to throw the football, it's just weird. You have Roquan Smith earlier this week telling the media, "Oh, we're going to slow Patrick Mahomes by taking away the run game and making Mahomes throw the ball more." And then you have Lamar Jackson saying, "F throwing the ball." You can't make that up, man. You cannot make that up. Can't make that up. What's your guys' score prediction for this game? I'm going 34-17. Here's why. I feel really good about the Chiefs offense. They only scored 30 points or more in 2 games last year. I think you have to start out of the gate and make a statement and let people know your offense is going to be much better this year than it was last year. And I think if you could go out there and put up 30 on the scoreboard, that'll be a really good sign and a really good indication that this offense is for real. I know a lot of people are making a big deal about the Ravens and how much turnover they've had. I think they lost 15 free agents this season, maybe even more than that. But I still think, they've still got a good football team. I still think this is a football team that has some things to look forward to. A lot of people feel like this is going to be a team that's going to contend. Again, I agree. I certainly think so. But I do think that the Chiefs are just going to be the better team. They are the more well-rounded team. They've got a really good defense. Yeah, they lost Snead, but they still have their big guy in Chris Jones. They still have George Karlaftis. That entire defensive front was very successful last year. So I'm expecting good things from this Chiefs defense in this game. And I don't think they're going to have a very difficult time, because when you look at what the Ravens offense has to offer, it's not a whole lot. They do have a really good wide receiver coming off a good rookie campaign in Zay Flowers. And then you have the tight ends, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Mark Andrews, his return was the AFC title game. Didn't do much in that game. But in general, Mark Andrews is a very good tight end. And Isaiah Likely did a good job filling in for him last year when Mark Andrews got hurt. But then who's the next wide receiver that you really think of? Rashad Bateman. I mean, that guy's had a very quiet career for the Ravens since getting drafted in the first round in 2021. Part of the reason why they went and got Zay Flowers last year in the draft. You have Nelson Aguilar. This guy's kind of been a journeyman in the NFL, so I don't really know if this is really like a guy that a lot of people are concerned about keeping their eyes on. You have Deontay Hardy from the Buffalo Bills. I mean, he's a speedster, but that's a guy who's more of a return specialist than a wide receiver. And then you look at the running back. Okay, Derrick Henry. He's pretty good. Yes, the Chiefs have had success against him in the past, but it might be a little bit of a different situation. I'm more concerned about the Ravens' running game in this game compared to their passing attack because they don't really have much at wide receiver outside of Zay Flowers. Yeah, there are two tight ends you got to really be aware of. And I kind of wonder how much of the RPO we're going to see. I know that's something you see a lot of in the college system, but I think that's something that the Ravens have kind of been able to live off of the last few years with Lamar Jackson, being able to throw off teams, make it seem like they're going to run when they throw short, and the tight ends usually, guys like Andrews and Likely, go out there and get their yardage. So I'm very curious to see how the Chiefs defend that. I don't know if you guys saw America's game last night with on NFL Network, but Chris Jones in his interview talked about how Spags just does nothing but just study tape on opposing offenses. Obviously, Spags has had to spend a lot of time preparing for this Ravens offense, which is going to be brand new in a way. You're going to see some things that you haven't seen before. I think with the emergence of how Likely played last year, you definitely want to utilize him more in a two tight end set with the Ravens offense. And I think Spags has to be ready for that and also has to be aware of what this Ravens offense is going to do with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry combined. That to me is a bigger threat than the Ravens trying to air it out against the Chiefs. That RPO would be a concern of mine as well. Trent McDuffie, really good open field tackler. So, if you're able to complete one of those types of RPO passes, which generally don't go for, deep, long passes or anything like that, you got to find a way to end that play very quickly. So hopefully the Chiefs can find a way to do that. Obviously, Trent McDuffie's capable of that. Hopefully your other cornerbacks who are going to be stepping up and filling in for L'Jarius Sneed, they'll be able to do that in this football game. So I'm very curious to see how they handle that. 35-20, 35-21, 24-13. Okay. So a lot of people thinking that the Chiefs are going to score in the 20s or the 30s. Yeah, okay. Could see some scores out there. Aiden says, I'm not afraid of Derrick Henry. He's 30, turning 31 this season and losing a lot in his tank. I disagree with this. And you're not the only one who says this. There are a lot of people who feel like Derrick Henry. Listen, I've always been a massive fan of Derrick Henry. I saw the contract he got with the Ravens. I kind of wish the Chiefs could have found a way to offer something slightly better because I think him and Pacheco teaming them up together would have been great. But I've always liked Derrick Henry. I mean, he was second in the NFL in rushing yards last year behind Christian McCaffrey, who obviously went on to win Offensive Player of the Year last year. So, there aren't a lot of guys better than Derrick Henry. I know he has not maybe been as dominant the last year or two compared to how he was in 2019, 2020, 2021, around those years. But he's always been just pretty good in general. So I've always liked Derrick Henry. I think he's definitely going to bring the Ravens something good to this table. And I think they're going to rely on him a lot. I would not be shocked if they ran the ball 20 times with him tonight. So when you have guys like Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill, two very good linebackers, those guys have got to be ready because I think in those running situations, you're going to have your big guys up front, guys like Mike Dana, Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, who's solid against the run, George Karlaftis. Those are guys that are going to have to occupy those offensive linemen. If they can get through, they get through. Great. But if you're Leo Chenal, if you're Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquill, those linebackers, you got to be ready. Got to be ready. Those are three guys that I think are going to be probably the most important players for the Chiefs defense tonight. 100%. If those guys can do well against the run and you force Lamar Jackson to pass it more, it's going to be a really good night for you. That's a big key for the Chiefs defense. Stop the run. And if you can find a way to do that, and I think the Chiefs have the defense to do it, I think you'll look good. Now, let's go to the offense here. Rashee Rice, I thought, had a phenomenal second half to the season last year. Not the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL, might not have even been the second best rookie. I think a lot of people would easily say Puka Nacua was the best. It's not fact if you say otherwise. He was the best rookie receiver last year, and then Zay Flowers, I think a lot of people would argue was the second best. But man, Rashee Rice really turned it up in the second half of the season, and in the playoffs, he now owns the playoff record for most receiving yards in a postseason by a rookie. So the things that Rashee Rice did last year, and obviously he contributed to some of the drops as well. He had some fumbles in the rookie campaign of his last year. He's got to nullify that. And I'm sure he's been spending a lot of time taking care of those things. And if he does that, Rashee Rice is going to be a very important part of today's game. You have Travis Kelce. No need to really get into who he is. You guys all know that just as well as anyone else. Then you have Xavier Worthy, who's going to make his NFL debut. This is going to be a very important one right here because Xavier Worthy can take the top off of defense, and with his speed, which is something Kansas City has missed, that is going to be really important for the Chiefs. Oh, breaking news here, folks. You guys ready for this? I have received some information. I'm here to inform all of you that Taylor Swift's plane has landed in Kansas City. All right, it's over. They're officially going to rig the game. It's all over, folks. I guess the Ravens can pack it up and go home. Taylor Swift is here. Okay, great. Anyway, when you look at this Chiefs offense, what you have, I love the setup. I love the look. On paper, it looks really nice, but we all know on paper, you don't win games. You win them on the field, on the gridiron. So when that game starts, I am very eager to see what this Chiefs offense looks like. You got speed all around. You got Xavier Worthy. You got Rashee Rice. Juju Smith-Schuster's coming back. How much of an impact will Juju Smith-Schuster have on the season? I don't know. How much of an impact will he have tonight, I think, is the better question in his return. Yeah, he knows the offense, but he just came back. So I think that's the big concern that some people might have is, what's his activity going to be like in a game like tonight? Because I think Juju could be maybe a guy that under the radar could have a solid game where he might be used a little more than people expect because he's familiar with Andy Reid's offense. He knows what Patrick Mahomes expects. Yeah, he was away for a year, but you don't just forget all of that stuff. So I'm really eager to see what this Chiefs offense looks like. And a guy like Juju, what he does. Justin Watson, I know he stepped up last year, but he was also a liability with those drops. I think Justin Watson is a very good depth player at wide receiver. McCole Hardman, we know he can do some damage to a defense with his speed, but he's also made some mistakes in the past as well. Which McCole Hardman do we get? This is a Chiefs offense that has a lot of weapons at the wide receiver position. And I think, listen, I'll stand by this. I know last year was not good, but can we at least agree that the receivers last year, those are receivers that had a good skill set? Marquez Valdes-Scantling, his height and his speed, and his ability to just run away from defenders. Kadarius Toney, I mean, that dude is dangerous and fast. But unfortunately, when you're dropping passes, that does nothing to help your offense. And the Chiefs went ahead and trimmed the fat. They got rid of the guys that were a liability, that were a culprit to this offense, and that held this offense back, if we're being honest. So you came out here and you replaced these guys with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Again, I know Hollywood's obviously not going to be playing tonight, but I think you still have enough to do what it takes to win. This is a very important game for Rice. Because coming off that rookie season, which again I thought was a great rookie season for Rice, especially in the second half, now you got to go from being a rookie to being a grown-ass man. And how are you going to handle this Ravens team that, is a pretty physical defense? How is Rice going to handle? Because Rice is not known for his speed, but is better known for creating separation from a defensive back. He can do that with a certain set of stuff. Go look at Rashee Rice's catch against the Bengals, that big catch that led to a field goal. He completely fooled Cam Britt-Taylor, making him think he's going to go one direction, quickly goes the opposite direction, and that was enough to throw him off. All he did is just run a vertical route, and Patrick Mahomes found him down the field. And, unfortunately, Britt-Taylor caught up to him, but it was too little too late as the Chiefs were able to get points on that drive. So something like that is gonna be really important to watch out for tonight. Xavier Worthy, again, how much attention could this guy attract? You can't double team everyone. You got to pick and choose who you're going to double team. And if you see too many defensive backs on the field, that's when you change things up and go to Isaiah Pacheco. Listen, We are less than 2 hours away. I started this 100-day countdown with you guys, and every day, it kind of felt like it was going fast, but also took too long. The last 7 days, really the last 14 days, because we haven't had a Chiefs game in 2 weeks exactly. It just felt like a long damn time, and I'm ready, man. I am ready to go. I need these last 2 hours to just go by, because I really need to see this Chiefs offense. I am very eager to see what they look like to start things off. And listen, if they don't get points on the opening drive, hey, no big deal. It's, the Super Bowl is not won and lost on the opening drive of the game. But I really would love to see them set the tone to start the season. I would love to see that. Defense, obviously, you have a lot of guys returning. The Chiefs did not really do a whole lot in terms of adding new players on defense. They have almost the entire same unit. Almost everyone is a returning player at the cornerback position. You lost a couple of guys, but you have some guys already on this roster that could fill in and play right away. I know they have a lot of confidence in Josh Williams and Jalen Watson. They really like those guys. I don't think Chiefs fans realize that. Those are guys who have made some big plays in years past. And yeah, they have only been around for a couple of years, but man, as rookies, both Williams and Watson, they did really good. Spags has a lot of good things to say about Nazi Johnson. So let's see it. And by the way, let me just say this, because for as much as we love the defense and what they did last year, there are a lot of people who were concerned about the defense in the preseason. Oh, well, the defense did not look good. The defense didn't look good last year either in the preseason. Derek Carr just destroyed the Chiefs defense. Derek Carr, of all guys. Keep that in mind. It's a preseason. And by the way, who did not play in last year's preseason? Chris Jones. Who did not play in this year's preseason? Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, Justin Reed. I mean, you had a lot of key guys on that Chiefs defense who were held out. And I know Justin Reed spoke to the media and said that if the Chiefs had a regular season game or a game that was, with big playoff implications, or even a playoff game in the last couple of weeks, Justin Reed is saying he could have played. And I would imagine that would probably be the case for guys like Chris Jones and Nick Bolton, who also did not play in the preseason. So bear that in mind. Yeah, again, the Chiefs defense didn't look great in the preseason. That's certainly something to be noted, but it's also important to be aware of the fact that they did not have Chris Jones. Chris Jones has not played in 2 straight preseasons, which perfectly fine by me, especially for a guy at that position. That's not really a guy who you really need to see much of in the preseason at that position anyway. If you're a wide receiver, yeah, we kind of need to see some action out of you in the preseason. Run some routes, kind of get your feet wet with Patrick Mahomes, get used to things, kind of get used to that style. So that is definitely something that I'm just excited. I'm pumped, man. I'm ready to go. It's been a weird off season. It's, I don't know, man. I want to say it's been a long off season, but then time flies. So I'm in this like weird little circle here where I don't know. Was this a quick off season or was it a long off season? Because, man, I'll tell you what, these last few days have gone by slow. Just wanting to get ready for this game, and I guess the older you get, I guess it's a good thing when time goes slow. That's what I've learned at least. But we're here, guys. We have under 2 hours left. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. All right, guys. I am Farzin Vasugian. Thank you for joining me for this pregame live chat. A reminder, I will be back at halftime. We will do our halftime live stream, and I'll also be back after the game. We will be doing the Chiefs Zone podcast live after the game, our post-game live stream on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you guys join me after that. We'll also have calls available. You can call into the show after the game. So make sure you guys click on the link that I'll provide after the game, and you guys call in, and we will chat it up, because that is what we do after each and every single game. All right, I'm out. Enjoy. Talk to you guys later.